Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I've got a terrifying but exciting subscriber Dogman encounter to share with you. It's one that I've waited for a while now, and one that I am proud to be able to share with you guys. You guys will see why in a few minutes. I'd also like to dedicate today's upload to those brave men and women who fight for our freedom every day. Thank you guys. And I'd also like to point out that those brave men and women go through a lot trying to come back home and fit in. And if you know anybody that has just returned, talk to them. Ask them if they need a friend to talk to. Now on to the links. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. All of those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fanfiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that really don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything you're into, follow that link and give those stories a listen. You may just like what you hear. I also started a GoFundMe page to help raise some money for legal fees that I am accruing for the court battle I'm going through for full custody of my 12-year-old daughter. Right now I have physical custody, meaning she's with me on a daily, but I need to keep it that way. Herself and myself both want to have it just how it is right now. There's some issues that I'm not willing to share and probably legally shouldn't. So if that's anything that you're willing to help with, that link is in the description below as well. Also, I'd like to thank all of you guys who have generously donated to that GoFundMe. Thank you so much. It has helped more than you guys know, believe me. And with that, guys, I've taken enough of your time. Let's get on with this terrifying subscriber Dogman encounter, shall we? Today's first Dogman subscriber encounter. Now, I am very proud to share this with you guys, and you guys will see why in a second. Dogman sighting by Marines in Iskandiryah, Iraq. Jeff, sorry it's taken me longer to get this to you than I had stated. The night itself is a good memory. It's the other memories and feelings that come unbidden to the forefront of my mind that deters me from really trying to relive those good times. Okay, I ask you to dedicate this story to our American warriors that come home unable to adjust or find the balance between our actions to protect our way of life, loved ones, our nation, and our inability to live within it once we return. My brother from another mother, my best friend, partner in crime, Sergeant M.A. Filbert, Usmc. In 2008, a year or so after this story had taken place, Mark ended his personal struggles. We were both out of the Corps, and I was back in Iraq as a civilian contractor at the time. We lost touch, and I found out 3 years later that he had taken his life, and that I had missed his funeral. I live every day thinking I may have been able to help him adjust if I had just been there for him. None of our old squad knew about it because he didn't let anyone know he was having trouble getting back to our old life. But we each feel partially responsible for him because we weren't there for him. Even though logic states the opposite, the hurt will always be there. Though most of us seemingly find our place in the world again, in our heads we know we are always outside of that window looking in. I want those guys to know we all have our issues, and we might be by ourselves, but we are never alone. There's always a brother willing to help you if you just let him know you could use some help. And many of us need the help of helping our brothers. All right, how about some Dogman? So there we were, a company of Marines watching the backsides of some Army Special Force guys. That reminded us of high school varsity quarterback that gets all the glory and the girl at the expense of the badass linebacker who plows the enemy and holds them at bay so the quarterback can get that ball across the line. Jealous? Nah, we're Marines. We know that without us, war just becomes a game. So we set up 3 hasty observation posts in a triangle surrounding the target building. A somewhat squat, 3-story apartment-styled building with a main stairwell connecting the 3 floors. We are there to catch any bad guys or squirters that escape the SF assault force. Also, we keep nosy neighbors in the stands and out of our field. My squad is assigned to securing the immediate grounds and the area around one of the buildings that we are setting up on. It's about dark 30, maybe 0200-ish in the morning. It's dark on the outside edge of the sleeping Iskandiryah, Iraq. The stars are out like hundreds of winking diamonds against a black velvet sky. With our night vision goggles flipped down, our world becomes a variation of light versus dark shades of green, reflecting the objects in our vision, as all fading to black at the furthest distance. I'm on one knee facing away from the corner of the building I'm covering. I become comfortable with the idea that we are the only ones awake at the time. We have no surprises so far, no shots fired, no scared shitless screaming crying civilians encountering the highly armed, bulky Marines, silently and methodically clearing every room, corner, and cabinet within the building we are going to call home for the next few hours. In my building, there is an extended family of Iraqis living there. 2 brothers, their wife, and children all gathered and placed in a room on the ground floor. Most Iraqis chose to sleep on their roof of their homes at night during the summer, due to the heat and horrible intermittent electrical grid. They were understandably highly irritated at the armed Americans until a guarantee of $2,000 was offered for their troubles. We suddenly became more like honored guests instead of invading assholes. Funny how that works. Our terp, linguistical, and cultural interpreter we call David is a master at befriending, calming, and consoling scared, irritated people whose lives we rudely intruded upon. As all of this is going on inside of my building, myself and 9 other Marines are outside, all alone with our sins. When out of nowhere there's this thwump. It is to my back left. I glance over with my head and see the outline of a large, green, man-like figure squatting on 2 odd-shaped legs and 1 arm. The other arm outstretched for balance. First thought is, one of my Marines just fell off the roof. It wouldn't be the first time a Marine fell off a building. Second thought, that's no Marine. What the fuck? As I turn my body, I'm raising my M16A4 service rifle to place my hollow sight on the center mass of this thing, and it leaps. Another 30 or so feet away, it lands on all 4s and runs off towards the nearest alley and turns right out of my line of sight. This thing is as big as a half-a-grown horse. It's as fast as a fleeting thought. A couple of seconds later, another team of Marines on the rooftop see a humongous dog streak by, jumping a large wadi and running into a huge field of sunflowers. The Marines lost sight of it. There is little radio chatter about who let the dogs out, and it was forgotten until we were back on base, debriefed and an AAR written up. Then we began questioning what it was we had seen. 1, it had landed like a bipedal man but ran off on 4 legs like a dog. 2, it was shaggy, like it was covered in hair or a man wearing a ghillie suit. 3, it had a hairy tail. 4, we clearly had seen a snout and a flopping tongue as it ran off. 5, it fully understood where we were and the quickest way to escape us. 6, other than the Marines on the ground, nobody else heard it make a sound. The Marines in my building had been in position on the roof when they thought they saw a pile of bedding come to life and jump off the roof. They never saw it move. They only noticed the pile was gone after they heard it hit the deck. Then they realized they were not alone on that rooftop. 7. Our SAW gunners had thermal optics and never registered any heat signature from it as it ran through their field of fire. In any given Iraqi city, there is a scent you cannot escape. It smells like a combination of old burnt motor oil, nearly decomposed roadkill, and very stale cigarettes. You eventually get used to it. According to our guys on the roof, they had noticed something that smelled like rotten carcass combined with harsh ammonia, like the scent of pig shit. A few days later, while on patrol, we stopped to check in with the family in the building that we used that night. We had David ask them who was the guy that was on the roof that night. They vehemently swore no one was with them on the roof or in the building that night. David described what had happened that night. The 2 brothers turned pale as a ghost and called David and us into another room, closed the door, and whispered so low that the women would not overhear our conversation. The brothers and David called it a salat, a werewolf, dogman, shape-shifting type of evil being from some of their legends. I hope you find this sighting worthy enough for you to present on your channel. I enjoy your work and the manner in which you describe your stories. You have a way of making your listeners feel like they are hearing everything from the actual people that had had the encounters. They don't sound overproduced or secondhand. Each story seems like it's an original. They are kind of more real life and not something designed for entertainment purposes only. Thank you for what you do, brother. I will answer any questions may need answered or any details you might need further explaining. Use this sighting however you wish. Sergeant Matt McCoy, United States Marine Corps, 0341. Wow, guys. Oh, wow. I normally don't just do one encounter per upload, but because of the sentiment behind today's upload, I felt this encounter needed just to be by itself. Not only because of the dedication this Marine wanted it to be dedicated to, but because of it being probably one of the very few Dogman encounters I have heard in the Middle East. I've had a couple, but this is where a group of Marines saw it. Very interesting. A couple interesting things that I picked up on was the SAW gunners not being able to get a thermal reading on the thermal optics. So that means it had to be cold as hell. Obviously, it was of weight because when it jumped from the top of the building to the bottom, there was a large thump. So it almost makes me wonder if this one was maybe an interdimensional traveler. Not really sure. Very creepy though. You know, the one thing that got me was when I was narrating it. The guys on top of the roof, they saw this pile of blankets and just thought it was just a pile of blankets and set up shop and went around their business, doing their business, and all of a sudden that pile of blankets is gone and there's a thump and a huge creature running down the road. I most certainly would have pissed and shit myself right on the spot. But yeah, I really like Matt's opening because I do have friends and family who have served, and I've seen the the aftermath, and it's hard for those men and women to come home and just try to blend in like nothing happened. I mean, you go in at 18 years old, you guys are kids still, and no offense, and you see some of the most insane acts of insanity a human can do, especially in the Middle East. And then those men and women come home, feel like they can't fit in, and don't ask for help because that's just how they're trained. And it's sad. It's very sad, because if they asked for help just to talk to somebody, that could have been a life saved. And it's very sad. So I'm not going to do too much talking. I just kind of want to let this set in. And God bless you, Matt, for sharing this with us. And God bless your friend Mark. And with that, guys, I'm going to bid you farewell.